So this Anne Widdecombe story is getting weirder and weirder, isn't it? Don't you think? But, right, folks, I'm not here to spread any conspiracy theories. I'm really not. I'm just here to ask questions. Because surely that's what we're meant to do, isn't it? Ask questions. So Anne Widdecombe was 78 years of age when she was murdered in her own home. She was reportedly attacked with a hammer 21 times, what prosecutors have described as a planned, targeted attack. Now, the man's being charged. God knows why he's not getting tried till next year. But now the counter-terrorism police have now opened another investigation. And you think that would be the end of the story, but it's not. So we want to know exactly what happened. So something else emerged, didn't it? We learned that the counter-terrorism police have reopened an investigation into an earlier incident that actually is linked to Nigel Farage. Now, this dates back to actually April 2025. And incendiary, I can't say that word, was reportedly a device was put through his letterbox. So the original investigation was treated as an attempted burglary and damage to his door. Nobody was arrested. And the case was closed. But now what they've done is they've admitted that the line of inquiry was not recognised or pursued at the time. Now, you think that wouldn't you think that'd be a serious thing? So, and they've referred it to their own handling of investigation to the IOPC, is it? Now, just 1 second. This isn't me saying that the police deliberately ignored anything. It isn't me saying that the two incidents are connected, because we simply don't know that, do we? We don't. But surely, as I always say, we're allowed to ask, aren't we? What was missed, for one? Why wasn't that line of inquiry followed? And why has the case now been reopened? Think about that, because the timing certainly seems, well, it raises questions, doesn't it? And this is where I think the mainstream media should start digging a little bit deeper. Anne Widdecombe's murder was absolutely horrific, and quite rightly that it received the huge attention. Not enough attention in my eyes. It didn't receive enough. But the details of the earlier incident involving Nigel Farage and the fact that the police have now acknowledged an investigation line was missed, surely this deserves a serious scrutiny, doesn't it? Because Farage, as we know, he's been, subjected to threats in the past, hasn't he? The milkshake, remember the milkshake? There was objects thrown at him. Loads of abuse at him. He's had threats, hasn't he, in the past? But I always say, whatever you think of politics or whatever you think of that person, they shouldn't have to be put up with this, should they? And if an alleged attack involving an address is linked to him, why wasn't it investigated? Why was it closed? And, if that would potentially have been investigated, would this have happened to Anne Widdecombe? They're just questions that I have. And here's where I'm going to be careful, because some people will immediately say it's all connected. We will. We assume, don't we? But we don't know that, do we? And others will say there's nothing to see here. So you get two different perspectives, don't you? Of course you do. But we don't know what to believe. What is the truth? We need the evidence, don't we? Of course we do. But that's exactly why questions have to be answered. Because when the public sees different cases apparently receiving different levels of attention, people start wondering, don't they, whether politics plays a part here. Is there a genuine two-tier system, or are we simply looking at two completely different circumstances? Are we putting two together and making five? That's for the evidence to be established, isn't it? But the trust in police and our institutions depends on people believing that every victim matters equally. And Anne Widdecombe and her family deserve answers. Nigel Farage deserves proper protection, doesn't he? And the public deserve to know why that earlier investigation apparently missed the line of inquiry. Seems strange, doesn't it? Because if something was overlooked, we need to understand how that happened, why it happened. We need to know, don't we? Not after another tragedy. Not quietly buried in a paragraph somewhere in the paper. And I know a few people will say, oh, I'm being political about this. I'm not. I'm just asking the same standard questions of, regardless of who the victim is, left wing, right wing, Reform, Labour, Conservatives, it doesn't matter, does it? If someone is attacked, investigate it properly. Do your job, investigate everyone equally. That's what I say. And if the police make mistakes, tell us that they made a mistake. If the two incidents are connected, tell us. That's how to rebuild the trust in the public, isn't it? Because at this moment in time, I just think that the whole story is getting stranger and stranger, don't you? And I suspect that there are still plenty of questions to be answered. So what do you reckon? Do you reckon that the authorities have handled this properly? Or are there still too many unanswered questions? Let me know in your comments. And remember, questions aren't conclusions, are they? So we need facts, we need evidence, and we need transparency. So let me know in your comments, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all later. Ciao.